Hey, it's Ed here. On today's video, we're taking a look at technical analysis for Total 3, which is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH. So a couple of weeks back when we were last looking into this, we were looking at this as a potential five-way move. I think we were somewhere around these areas, possibly over here somewhere, looking for us to take out this low here before reflecting back up. Now that happened, but not the way I intended it to. So again, the count that I was looking for here was a five-way move as a 1, 2, 3. Now this has now got an invalidation here, and we can see that wave 4 came too low for it actually to be a wave 4. So again, we know now that this is not a five-way move unless it is some kind of a diagonal. So there is still that possibility that it is a diagonal, and we would be creating, well, some kind of expanding diagonal possibility here. At this point, again, wave 3 is clearly larger than wave 1, and in that scenario, we generally want the wave 5 here to be larger than wave 3 as well. Again, now that we have that overlap, this expanding diagonal is the only way we can label this as a bullish option, right? If not, then we need to be figuring out something else for this count. So what does this have actually going on? Well, last time we were talking about the reasons why I was expecting a five-way move. We hit the 1.618 here, which again allowed us to look for that fifth wave upwards. It could be that we have this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. That does not look, however, really proper. So again, instead of that, we could be thinking of this as an ABC itself. And at that point, again, we would be thinking this smaller time frame inside here, have this as a five-way move. That looks pretty good. So what does that mean for the overall count? Well, as this is an ABC going up, let's take a look at the higher time frame that we had. We had this coming down as an ABC or a WXY. However, if this thing going up is not part of that C wave that we are expecting it to, like we would fit it very well into this diagonal possibility, it would be something else. It would mean that, okay, this could become a WXY instead of this ABC. Both are still possible. The retracements for the wave B, we can see that we did tag the 85.4, which allows us to create a flat structure. However, does it need to be a flat structure? No, it does not. So instead of this becoming a five-way move upwards, let's go back to 1 hour, this could become some kind of three-wave, mess. Overall, at this point, we can still see that we did not go past the 1.618 here. So it's still possible that we are in some kind of connector wave here, since we created this divergence here, and this created some kind of three-way structure coming down in RSI. Again, that is resembling more of a cycle end. The only issue with this is that we had high here, and it is higher than the previous structures. However, again, that goes against the idea that we would have this as an expanded flat. So there's a couple of different ways of looking at this. So overall, either this is that running flat situation where this last leg of wave C or something else, and this could be a diagonal in here, does not go beyond the wave A lows. So you would be labeling it something like this, or that this whole thing is not anything of a flat at all, but instead we would have a three-way structure like this in here. It is very small in time, which is to be noted, and if we are comparing it in time, we can be looking at this here and seeing that we only hit the 23.6, basically to the dot. But again, it is very small in time. However, that is the minimum I use generally nowadays for anything as a potential partner leg. So again, it is still valid for me. Now, if we are looking at this potential as a move to the upside, as this started with three ways to the upside, we had three ways to the downside, which did not go well towards the 85.4 or any kind of flat structure target, then of course what do we call this? Well, a WXY. And at this point, this is still on the table. Let's change the colors a bit. What is the color? Maybe that one. Yeah. Oh well, that one. As we can see, we only hit the 618 here and went kind of beyond that. I don't really think that this is large enough for it to be a wave Y. So if we want to have this whole thing as a corrective structure going to the upside, I feel like we would need one more up towards the 1-to-1 here. Again, it can extend a bit higher. We can target some liquidity here if that is something that you're interested in as an SMC concept. But again, this is the total market cap, so I'm not quite sure how the liquidity runs really work on this specific, well, it's not an ETF, but a gathering of different assets together. So that is something to keep in mind. At this point, this can very well still be that of an WXY and ABC on the last leg up. I'm not really a fan of this structure here. I'm not really sure how I want to be labeling this. Maybe this whole thing is a WXY or ABC up. It definitely feels like a more of a three-way structure. So maybe instead of A, this would be a WXY instead. Does it matter overall? No, not really. It doesn't change the targets at all. So again, these would be the higher time frame, the sub-minute or the WXY targets, and this would be the targets if we have pivoted currently into these one-to-one extension targets. So again, what we have seen here, or what we have, is very nicely lined up one-to-one target. At this point, that would be something I would be, well, the most interested about. The other one is somewhere around here, 355-ish billion. And of course, we can climb up correctively way more. And at that point, again, we could be thinking about something else, some other count. But for now, I feel like this is the best looking one for now. And the other thing that we were talking about, this diagonal possibility, I don't really like the idea that fifth is done if this is a diagonal. Again, at this point, we could have that last leg up. The issue with this count that we were talking about before as well was that this whole thing started with a three-way structure. Or at least the structure-wise, it looks like a three-way. The next structure over here looks more like a five-wave, and that was the issue that we had. And this diagonal does not really fit into either of those, because again, all the legs in a diagonal should be in either three waves or in five waves, at least the impulsive parts, so 1, 3, and 5. So if the first one is in 3, this should be in 3 as well. So, however, this looks more like a 5. This, however, looks like a 3 though. So yeah, that's basically the issue here. 1.618 hits here, again making it more likely to be a third wave, fourth and fifth. Some people could say that we have a expanded flat here. That is generally not allowed on diagonals, or at least it wasn't on the original LHW books. So again, think of it as a rule that should not be broken. And I see some people have allowed that to happen, and I don't think I'm still on that group yet, because again, that allows us to have way more options again on the count itself. So for me, I feel like the best at the moment is the WXY, because we don't have any issues with this count at that point. We still can have this as a far-away move here, and this would be that A, B, and C. You could even have it like here. It's kind of wonky, but yeah, just around the 1.618 here, the B wave of that B, basically, yeah. But yeah, the overall expectation for me is to grind up higher in 3 waves. So we could be getting some kind of 5, 3, and 5 in here, and get towards that target of 384. Again, this is on regular scale, log scale, just a bit different degrees, and we could be around, well, 349 instead of 348. So again, similar price targets on both. And there's not really much else I can talk about at this point. I think that is the first target I would be looking at. If we start to break down though, let's take a look at that scenario. What if we have actually finished this as a fire wave? Well, it would not be the first thing I would be thinking. If we, however, break this to the downside and we create, let's say, a three-way move to the downside somewhere in here, then the WXY variant is no longer that probable. Because again, generally we don't want to have this wave X of smaller degree be larger than this X here, which is again higher degree. So if that happens and we start to break down, especially take out these lows, and time-wise it takes longer than this here, well, basically anything, if we create new lows here and it is suitable to create a potential three-way like so, it's more likely to be that it is part of this kind of move here. And at that point again, the target would be somewhere under 315. And at that point again, we would be deciding or starting to decide whether this is becoming a three-way structure or whether it's extending to the downside and we're going to be getting some kind of 5 that would be part of something previous to it. At this point, I don't think that is the likeliest scenario because in my opinion, this is already finished, but it's possible that we have some kind of structure in here that I just don't see, and this is done. I don't like that as a possibility. Of course, it could be that we have like a structure like that, and then this, as we saw that this already hit the 0.618 of this move. But again, it doesn't have the best look, so that's why it's not my main. If we, however, take out this low, we know for sure that this is not expanding diagonal starting anything. So again, those are the invalidations. What to look out for. I would be interested in this 315. It would also have the liquidity from here as well, if that is something you would be incorporating in this into total 3 at all. Not quite sure of that at this point though. But definitely something to keep an eye on. Some of the alts have performed very nicely. For example, Solana is doing some crazy runs. Let's see if I can find that fast. There we go. And it's still going up. Again, it's not very something that I was expecting to run this much. The possibility that we had was that we had some kind of diagonal. Not the best looking, but again, it is better looking than the ALTCOIN market or total 3. So at this point again, I feel like we have to be thinking that this is a three-way structure. From here. And it would be some kind of a flat structure. It is kind of weird that it ended way before here, but again, we did get that divergence going, which played out to the upside. It's not really the extension targets I would be looking for as of yet. So again, we have not even hit the 0.618, so this might be running even further. On higher time frame Solana, again, the expectation was that we were looking for a partner leg for this structure over here after this was put in place. So again, something along these lines would be expected. So we'll see how this turns out. Of course, the most bullish would be that we have some kind of 1-2-1-2 setups here, but that is not the most probable case. But I think that is probably the thoughts I wanted to share today on Total 3 and Solana for now, and we'll see and keep updating these as we go on into the future as the price develops again. But that's going to do it for this video. Also, if you're interested in smaller fees, check out the BitGet link down in the description of the video. Again, thanks for watching and catch you on the next video.